Indred Cold's grin was never destined to stand alone. In the months and years after Woodrow Derenberger's 1966 encounter, his story expanded. Cold, it turned out, was not a solitary visitor. He was part of something larger. Over time, new names emerged in the legend: Karl Ardo, Demo Hassan, Connor, and Conard. In interviews and in his 1971 book, Visitors from Lanulos, Derenberger claimed Cold had companions from his world, including Karl Ardo and Demo Hassan, who had also come to Earth. Connor and Conard, however, surfaced primarily in family accounts, passed down among the Derenbergers rather than appearing in UFO literature. Some researchers list Karl Ardo and Demo Hassan as part of Cold's group, while Connor and Conard remain less widely documented. Yet all versions of the story agree on one thing: Indred Cold was never alone. From West Virginia backroads to the pages of Derenberger's diary, Karl Ardo became a central figure in Woody's later accounts. Derenberger described him as Cold's companion, another grinning man from Lanulos who often accompanied Indrid on Earth. Woody later claimed that Karl Ardo had been present during his first encounter, reaching out a hand from Cold's craft. Like Indrid, Karl spoke telepathically, discussing philosophy, human civilization, and cosmic mysteries. He even visited Woody's home, sometimes appearing on his porch for hours, calmly discussing the nature of existence. Derenberger maintained that Karl Ardo and Indred Cold arrived together in a glowing craft, inviting him aboard for incredible journeys. According to Woody, Karl was there when Cold showed him the ship's interior, and he was present the night Derenberger was taken beyond Earth. Derenberger's most extraordinary claim, later chronicled in Visitors from Lanulos, was that Cold's crew had taken him on a journey across the cosmos. According to Woody, Karl Ardo was not just an observer, but an active part of Cold's mission. Derenberger described being whisked away aboard Cold's craft, with Karl and others as his guides. They allegedly took him on aerial journeys across Earth, stopping in South America's Amazon jungle, then traveling to a base on the Moon before reaching Lanulos, a planet Cold described as a peaceful civilization free from war and suffering. While Karl Ardo featured prominently in these accounts, Demo Hassan remained elusive. Derenberger recalled Cold mentioning Demo Hassan, but there were no detailed stories of his interactions. Some speculated that Demo Hassan was a misunderstanding, perhaps a coded phrase mistaken for a name. Regardless, his inclusion added another layer of mystery. While Derenberger went public with Cold's visits, his family also came forward. Woody's wife and children claimed they had met Cold and his crew firsthand. Tanya Derenberger, Woody's daughter, later recalled that Indred Cold was no myth to their family. He was a frequent visitor. She insisted that Indrid and his companions came not just for her father, but for all of them. Unlike Karl and Demo, Connor and Conard appeared mainly in family lore. Tanya said her family knew these Lanulosian visitors on a first-name basis, as though they were an extended intergalactic family. Unlike Karl and Demo, who were discussed in UFO circles, Connor and Conard were rarely mentioned in newspapers or investigative reports. They lived in the Derenbergers' private history, a secret known only to those who grew up in its shadow. In 2017, Tanya Derenberger published Beyond Lanulos, continuing her father's story. She maintained that Indrid Cold was still alive, that he and his people remained in contact with her family, even decades later. The legend of Indrid Cold, she insisted, was not an event of the past, but an ongoing saga, one that quietly persisted through letters, phone calls, and telepathic messages, away from public view. To the Derenbergers, Karl Ardo, Connor, Conard, and even Demo Hassan were not fiction. They were friends from another world, each with a name, a personality, and a role in the Indrid Cold Chronicle. Such astonishing claims invite inevitable skepticism. Who or what were Indrid Cold's companions? Believers argue that Cold's crew was exactly what Derenberger claimed, a team of explorers from Lanulos, quietly observing Earth. Cold may have been a scout, with Karl Ardo as his second-in-command, and Connor and Conard as his children or kin. Skeptics counter that Cold's companions were a later embellishment. Derenberger faced intense media scrutiny, and as time went on, his story grew increasingly elaborate. Some see this as a hallmark of UFO contactee cases, where initial encounters evolve into rich, novel-like sagas as public interest grows. The Men in Black theory adds another dimension. Some researchers suggest that Karl Ardo and Cold's crew resembled classic Men in Black encounters. Mysterious, otherworldly figures appearing after UFO sightings. Some even wondered, could Indred Cold himself have been a variation of the Men in Black? John Keel himself noted Cold's uncanny similarities to MIB Law, his odd formal speech, his dark suit, and his tendency to arrive after UFO events. Some witnesses even claimed that a black Volkswagen pulled up outside Woody's home, and a tan-skinned man in a dark suit spoke with him before disappearing. Was Karl Ardo an MIB, or was Cold part of a larger, coordinated presence? The Cold crew remains an enduring mystery. Whether they were fellow explorers, a fabricated embellishment, or something else entirely, their presence has deepened the legend of Indred Cold. We return to that grinning figure on a West Virginia road, but now he is not alone. He is flanked in the shadows by others, Karl Ardo, Connor, Conard, and the phantom Demo Hassan. They stand together in the rain, their unnerving smiles illuminated by the glow of an unknown craft. If they were real, what did they want? If they were invented, why does the memory of their name still send a shiver down the spine? In the absence of answers, the story of Indred Cold's companions remains suspended between worlds, a legend that invites belief, skepticism, and speculation in equal measure. The mystery deepens, drawing us further into the unfolding myth, even as solid conclusions remain elusive. And as long as Indred Cold's smile lingers in the dark, we are left to wonder if his crew still walks among us.